स्मृतापितरुणातपं करुणया हरन्तीं नृणाम् अभङ्गुरतनुत्वषां बलयिता शतैर्विद्युतां कलिन्दगिरिनन्दिनी तटसुरद्रुमालम्बिनी मदीयमतिचुम्बिनी भवतु कापि कादम्बिनी. We're looking at the third matam. Yeah. Okay. In the third matam, Kavya from the Vibhava, Anubhava and Vibhichari Bhava, you have the Vyanjana Vyaparena, Tatra Kavyarthaha, the Tatparyam of the Kavyam is understood. From there, after Vyanjana Vyapara, there is something called Bhavana Visheshaha, which is Brahmatmakaha, Doshatmakaha, and Tadrisha Bhavana Visheshena eva Rasa Utpattihi or Rasa Pratitihi Bhavati. This is the third mata's crux. So we were actually we'll start from this place. So Atha Yadi Akhladaha eva Dukkhamapi Pramana Siddham Tada Pratibandakatvam na kalpaniyam swaswakaranavashat cha ubhayamapi bhavishyati. If Akhlada is, see, from a Karuna Rasam Kavyam, we experience Dukkham also, we experience Sukham also. No, it is not that we experience only Akhlada. Dukkham api bhavatyeva, tatra pramana siddham eva, yataha there are things that there are hetu, karanam, swaswakarana vashat, dukkham api jayate, swaswakarana vashat, sukham api jayate. Yadi tatra dukkha karanam bhavati, tarhi ashrupatadayaha bhavantyeva. And then if it is an aswada of that entire episode, then it gives rise to sukham also, because we are enjoying it at one point. It's like our mind is in a dilemma here. Half portion is enjoying the true nature of what is happening, and so there is dukkham. There is also sukham because we know it is not happening to us and it is something that is enjoyably portrayed by the actors. So swaswakarana vashat ubhayamapi bhavishyati sukham dukkham ubhayamapi. Now, atha tatra kavinam kartum sahridayanam cha shrotum katam pravrittihi. Why does a poet even want to write such a kavyam? Or why does a sahridaya even want to listen to such a dukkhatmakam kavyam? Anishta sadhanatvena nivrittehe uchitatvat iti chet. Anishta sadhanam. Ishta sadhanam bhavati chet tatra kartum pravrittihi vartate, shrotum va pravrittihi vartate. Yadi tat anishtameva utpadayati, tarhi kimartham tatra pravrittihi bhavet, nivrittireva jayeta. So anishta sadhanatvena, because it is something that will create an anishtam, which is undesirable. Dukkham is not desirable by everybody. Everybody wants to be sukhi. So sukham, but dukkham seems to, this seems to create dukkham in our mind. Then why would there be a pravritti? There will be only a nivritti. Nivrittehe eva uchitatvat. Ishtasya adhikyat anistasya cha nyunatvat chandanadravalepanaadau iva pravrittihi upapattehe. Pravritter upapattehe. So chandanadrava lepanam. You can take the example of surata sukham also. Ratikeli, when there is a union, suratam bhavati tatra nakhakshatadi, those are also pain inducing, but at the same time it is also giving pleasure. The other example that he gives, which is a laukika example, is chandanadrava lepanam. Chandana gharshanetu shramaha jayate dukkam utpadyate. Kintu anantaram saurabha shaityadi anubhavetu sukhameva bhavati. So ishtasya adhikyat, the sukham is more when compared to the anishtam, which is nyunam. Hence there is a pravritti. Now prathama mate pravritti upapadana prayojana abhavam. So here kevala akhladavadinam tu pravrittihi apratyuha eva. We don't even need to talk about the paksham where they are only saying it is only akhlada eva. Dukkhameva na bhavati tatra. Yadyapi karunarasa pradhana kavyam vartate, tathapi mama manasi tu dukkhameva na anubhuyate. So I have no issues at all. I only derive pleasure from looking at any type of rasam or reading any kind of kavyam. So I have no issues. Iti matetu, in that particular context, kevala akhlada vadinam tu mate pravrittihi apratyuha eva. There is nobody stopping him from listening to such a karuna rasa pradhana kavyam, because he will only derive pleasure from, even if it is such a kavyam. For that kind of a vadi, ahlada vadi. So the hetu he gives here, actually these two shlokas are really nice. So that's why I wanted to go into that. Hetutvam shoka harshadehe gatebhyo lokasamshrayat shoka harshadayaha loke jayantam nama laukikaha. There are laukikas who understand shoka and harsha from this world. That's fine. Let them understand it. Hetutvam lokasamshrayat shoka harshadehe gatebhyaha lokasamshrayat. From the connection with the lokam, with the world, there is shoka, sorrow or happiness becomes a hetu here. And hence, loke shoka harshadayaha jayantam. Laukikaha. Those happiness and sorrow which belong to the world can happen, let it happen. It doesn't matter. Because we are only looking at the karanam which is of this world, which is not alaukikam. Whereas in our kavyam, what happens is alaukika vibhavatvam praptebhyaha kavya samshrayat sukham sanjayate tebhyaha sarvebhyaha api iti kakshatihi. Only when I am looking at laukika objects as vibhava or anubhava, then there is a laukika sukham or dukkham that I enjoy. Now, kavya samshrayat, when the same objects have been put into kavyam, they achieve an alaukika status. So, alaukika vibhavatvam praptebhyaha, for those which have gained the status of something beyond the world, which is not of the world, then sukhameva jayate. For them, they say that only sukham arises from this experience, because it is been put inside the kavyam, where I have totally transformed the characters into some alaukika characters. For example, Dushyanta, who is just a total, a person who talks really bad about Shakuntala in Mahabharata. Whereas he is portrayed as the exemplar of Sanatana Dharma in Kalidasa's Kavyam. So he gains an alaukika status in the Kavyam, and Sukhameva Sanjayate Tebhyaha Sarvebhyaha Api iti kakshatihi. So there is no problem in that matam. That is why he says apratyuha eva badha eva nasti tatra sukha anubhavasya. Ashrupatadayaha api tattad ananda anubhava swabhavyat natu dukkhat. No, then, but what happens when you see a Karuna Rasapurva scene and tears automatically flow from your eyes? What do you say of that? Iti chet, dukkha anangikaraha. Tesham mate tu, prathama mate, they don't even accept that there is dukkham in the experience. Because in this third matam, he says, dukkha karanam yadi bhavet, tarhi dukkham upajayate. Sukha karanat sukham janayate, sukham utpadyate. That is their matam. Whereas the prathama mate tu, dukkha anangikare, then what happens to all the ashrupatadini that happens? How do you solve that problem? Ashrupatadayaha api tattad ananda anubhava swabhavyat. It only arises when I experience the anandam. Anandajanyam eva, anandajanyat eva sambhavati ashrupatadayaha. Because ashrupata is not because of dukkham, natu dukkhat. It only happens when there is chetasaha dravatvam. Say ashrupatadayas tadvat drutatvat chetasaha mataha. அதாவது நெகிழ்ந்து போகிறதுன்னு போம் தமிழ்ல. நமக்கு நெகிழ்வு ஏற்படுறச்சே கண்ணுல தானா ஜலம் வருது. When there is a dravatvam, drutatvam, like jatu, like wax, when there is heat near it, the wax automatically, slowly, it just melts. That dravi bhavaha eva, manasaha dravi bhavaha eva, ashrupatadini utpadayanti. That's it. There is nothing else. So that dravi bhava gives rise to ashrupata. It is not because of dukkham. So tattad ananda anubhava swabhavyat. By experiencing that ananda, which then actually melts the heart, and hence tears fall from our eyes. Natu dukkhat. He gives a substantiates it with saying, he gives an example by saying that Atayeva Bhagavad Bhaktanam Bhagavad Varnana Akarnanat Ashrupatadayaha Upapadyante Nahi Tatra Jatvapi Dukkhanubhavaha Asti. He takes an example of where we are Bhagavad Varnana Akarnanat. Bhagavataha Varnanam Kriyate. There is a description of Bhagavan in Puranas or in Stotram. You can immediately get, there is a Dravi Bhava in the mind, and automatically tears come out of your eyes. What do you say of that? They are Bhagavad Bhaktaha. Then does that mean that Bhaktyam Dukkham Vartate iti? Because your mind has completely melted upon hearing the God's Varnana, Bhagavad Bhaktanam, for the devotees of Bhagavan, Bhagavad Varnana Akarnanat, by hearing the Varnana of Bhagavan, Ashrupatadayaha Upapadyante, it is possible that, or it is fit that they have tears in their eyes when they listen to such descriptions, such beautiful descriptions. Nahi tatra jatvapi dukkha anubhavaha asti. There is not even a levaleshopi tatra dukkha anubhavaha nasti. Dukkha asambinna sukham eva tatra. Right? It is not mixed with dukkham. Otherwise, people would never go for bhakti. Yeah. So, bhakti involves only sukham, and even the ashrupatadayaha too, it is only a, how to say, a manifestation of the melting of the heart. That's all. न च करुणरसादौ स्वात्मनि शोकादिमत् दशरथादि तादात्म्य आरोपे यदि आह्लादः तदा स्वप्नादौ सन्निपातादौ वा स्वात्मनि तदारोपे अपि सः स्यात् आनुभविकं च तत्र केवलं दुःखम् इति इह अपि तदेव युक्तम् इति न च वाच्यम्. This entire thing is like a Purvapaksha here. Karunarasadav. Now what is happening in Karunarasam? Swatmani Shokadimat Dasharatadi Tadatmya Arope. Now, Ahlada Vadinam Matam Atra Khandanam Kriyate. So the first Matam is where they experience only Sukham. So the third Matavadi, Rasagangadhara, is posing himself as the third Matam, and he is doing an Akshepa here. And then he is trying to answer this through the Prathama Mata also. Now, in the Prathama Mata, you experience only Sukham. Okay? Now, if you experience only Sukham, then from the third Mata's viewpoint, he says, Karuna Rasadau Swatmani Shokadimat Dasharathadi Tadatmya Arope Yadi Akladaha. No, I have superimposed Dasharathatvam on me. I am so upset now that Rama is going to the forest, and so Dasharatha is feeling so sad. Tadrisha Dasharathatvasya tadatmyam atra atmani aropitam vartate. I have completely superimposed the quality of being Dasharatha in my mind. Now the scene is Karuna Rasa here. The background is Karuna Rasam. Let's say Dasharatha is feeling very unhappy that Rama has gone because he is going to die right now because of separation from Rama. Okay, so Shokadiman Dasharathaha Tadrisha Dasharathena Tadatmya Aropaha Kriyate Kutra Swatmani. I am trying to experience the scene, and I have taken on the disguise of Dasharathatvam here now. Even then I have to feel happy. Imagine. It may be Karuna Rasa, parantu dukkham na jayate tatra in that matam. So yadi ahladaha eva jayate. Okay, this is a brahmatmaka. So in this brahmatmakam also, if I am experiencing only sukham, tada swapnado sannipatado va swatmani tadarope api Saha syat ahladaha eva syat. Swapnado, swapne jayamane. When there is a dream and I am dreaming about a lion chasing me, now what do I do about it? Okay. Yes. So the first paksham, there is only Anandam. In the second paksha, we see Ashrupatam also, which is because of Anandam. But the third Paksha says it can be because of both Dukkham or Sukham. Either way, it can happen. Okay. So now Karuna Rasadau Shokadi Mat Dasharathadi Tadatmya Arope Api Yadi Ahladaha. If I superimpose myself and think of myself as Dasharatha, and I should feel only Sukham, how is that possible? Then in dream also, I should only feel Sukham. I cannot feel Bhayanakarazam, nor can I feel Dukkham of any sort, because that is also an illusory appearance. Any illusory appearance can give rise to only Ahlada iti chet, then it doesn't fit here, because anubhave kim bhavati, dukkamapi anubhavamaha, sukhamapi anubhavamaha, tat karanavashat. So dukkam, in this case, let's say a person is separated from the sun, then there is only dukkam that is being experienced by that person. He doesn't experience sukham there. So in the same manner, when I have done an aropa, a superimposition of Dasharatha on me, then I should, if I need to feel only Ahlada, then the same will apply to Swapnam also. Because there also, there is a doshatmaka vyaparaha vartate. Sannipata. In the case of Sannipata ityukte tridosha jware. There are three kinds of doshas, that is Vata, Pitta, Kapham. The imbalance of these three will give rise to some kind of a dosha, a jwara. And because of that fever, apasmaradi roga. There can be other kind of rogas also, or in the case of jwaram, or in the case of some amnesia kind of stuff, where there is an aropa of some other quality, you should actually feel only happiness. It is not the Atma that is suffering, it is only the body that is suffering, but you are taking that body suffering onto yourself and saying that, okay, I am suffering. But in this case also, because it is a Brahmatmakam, you should only feel Akhladaha, according to the first case. Okay? Tatra Anubhavikam cha tatra kevalam dukkam iti ihapi tadeva yuktam. So Anubhavikam, Anubhava siddham tu katham vartate. We experience dukkam in reality, whether it is swapnam or whether it is sannipata jwaradi, or whether in reality we are separated from our child, we do experience dukkam. Iti ihapi tadeva yuktam. Ihapi ityukte karunarasadau api. When you think of the separation, you have to experience dukkam, and when you think of it in the rasa status, you will have to experience ananda. That's how it should be. Swaswa karanavashadeva tatra bhavitavyam iti nacha vachyam. No, that is not the case. So you are talking about laukika pratyaksham. I am talking about alaukika pratyaksham. Avadinu 38. He explains it in that manner. Now this Purvapakshi is understood. It's clear. Huh? So Karuna Rasadau Swatmani Shokadimat Dasharatadi Tadatmya Arope Yadi Ahladaha Eva. Even in Karuna Rasa, if I am feeling only happiness when I think of myself as Dasharatha, then Swapne api Sannipatado api Doshavashadeva atra aropaha kriyate iti karanat Ahladaha eva bhavitavyaha. Sahasyat. Even in those cases, we will have to say that, but Anubhavam tells me differently. During Anubhavam, I feel Dukkham during Swapnam or Dukkham during Sannipata Jwara, etc. When I am suffering. There is a disease or there is a Swapnam, I do experience Dukkham. Then in the same, applying the same conditions, applying the same theory to Karuna Rasam, also Dukkham is Yuktam. You are experiencing dukkam iti chet nacha vachyam iti nacha vachyam. So this, you can't say this because ayam hi lokottarasya kavya vyaparasya mahima yat prayojya aramaniya api shokadayaha padarthaha ahladam alaukikam janayanti. Now this is a lokottara kavya vyapara. Ayam hi ityukte sukha so the dukkha janakatvam yatkimapi bhavatu nama tathapi lokottaraha anandaha eva bhavati yataha kavya vyaparastu lokottaraha bhavati. So lokottarasya kavya vyaparasya mahima. Kavya vyapara here is vyanjana vritti. So it is the mahima of vyanjana vritti. This third matam accepts vyanjana vritti. and dosha vishesha. Whereas if you go to the fourth matam, he will not accept Vyanjana vritti. There we bring in Anumana. Okay. So till now, these are people who still accept Vyanjana vritti. So Kavya Vyaparasya Vyanjana vritte hetu Lokottara bhavi vartate. It is something that is beyond the loka. So it has a greatness which is divine or which is extra terrestrial, whatever. So yat prayojya yenda அந்த வியஞ்சனாவிருத்திய உபயோகப்படுத்தி என்ன ஒரு பதார்த்தங்களை நம்ம சொல்றோமோ அதனால வரக்கூடிய ஆனந்தமோ அலௌகிகம்னு சொல்றோம். So yat prayojya ityukte so the vyanjanajanya pratiti vishayaha. So vyanjana prayojyaha, those which have come out or those which are used to create vyanjana vyapara, even if they are aramaniya, even if they are not padarthas, vastu, which are not good to look at, which are not, which can create karuna rasam or bhayanakam, bhayam or shokam in our mind in real life. So they are generally avoided by people. Those are aramaniya. They are not hridyam. They are not attractive to the mind. So they are aramaniyaha. Api shokadayaha padarthaha. The vastus that are capable of creating shoka, etc. Shokam, bhayam, jugupsa, ityadikam. Yat prayojya, if it is being used by Vyanjana Vyapara, ahladam, alaukikam ahladam janayanti. They are capable of creating an alaukika ananda, which is different from the anubhavam. That's what he says in the next line. Vilakshano hi kamaniyaka kamaniya kavya vyaparajaha aswadaha pramanantarajat anubhavat. Pramanantarajat anubhavat. Pramanantaram ityukte itara vyapara pramanam. Whatever is, let's say, abhida vyaparam or lakshana vyapara or indriyartha sannikarshak janyam jnanam, all of these are pramanas that you get, like pratyaksham, anumanam, upamanam, shabdam. You can take any kind of pramana which gives rise to anubhava. Pramanantara jat, pramanantara janyat anubhavat vilakshanaha ayam aswadaha. This kavya aswada is vilakshana. It is different from our normal anubhava which we get from pratyaksha, anumana, upamanadi. It is different because it is a kamaniya kavya vyaparajaha. It is jayate. It is created by kamaniya, very chamatkari kavya vyapara, which is vyanjana vritti. But there is actually another vyanjana kama kamaniya kavya vyaparaha vyanjana vrittihi tajjanyaha bhavana visheshaha tajjanyaha eva aswadaha. He is going to correct it in the next line. So for now we will take it as from the kavya vyapara, whatever aswada we derive, the enjoyment that we derive is vilakshanaha. It is different from the anubhava that we get from other pramanas, because this is an alaukika pratyaksham. It is not a laukika pratyaksham. That clear? Janyatvam cha swajanya bhavanajanya ratyadi vishayakatvam. It's very simple. Janyatvam angarche, this janyatvam points out to the inge ja vyapara jaha, vyapara janyatvam aswade vartate. Kidrisham janyatvam. So swajanya bhavanajanya rati vishayakatvam. Swam kavya vyaparaha, which is vyanjana vritti. Vyanjana vritti janya swajanya. So vyanjana vritti janya ya bhavana. That bhavana is our brahmatmakaha bodha vyaparaha, brahmatmakaha dosha vyaparaha, dosha. That dosha rupa bhavana is created by vyanjana vritti. So swajanya ya bhavana. Tad doshena ya ratihi jayate. So tad bhavana janya ratyadihi. Sir ratyadinam aswadaha yatra vartate tateva kavyam. So this rati aswada is rati vishayakaha yaha rasa aswadaha sayeva rasa aswadaha iti tritiya matasya abhipraya. Clear? So tadaha tena rasaswadasya kavyavapara ajanyatve api nakshatihi. So even if this, now what happens is, in this janyatvam ityatrato swajanya bhavana janya ratim sunno. So vyanjana, put an arrow, then you have bhavana, and from that arrow you have rati. So there are 3 steps here. Even though vyanjana does not directly give rise to rati, still parampara sambandhena vyanjana janya eva ratihi. Iti, you can accept it. That is, he is, even though he does not directly accept that vyanjana gives rise to rati, still he is okay. He at least accepts vyanjana vritti for me. Even though he brings in a dosha vishesha there, which is undesirable for Paṇḍitarāja, still he is a little bit better than the other person who does not even accept vyanjana vritti, and he says everything can become can be included under anumana. So tena, even though swajanya bhavana janya eva ratihi iti yadyapi uktam, tena rasa aswadasya kavya vyapara janyatve api nakshatihi. Even though I have done this parishkara for the lakshanam, for janyatvam, still kavya vyapara vyanjanayaha ajanyatvam, that is, rati is not directly created by vyanjana vyapara ityapi nakshatihi. It doesn't matter. There is a parampara sambandha for me. Okay, that parampara sambandha is not mentioned here, but you can make a note of it, because even if it is not created by vyanjana vyapara, still vyanjana creates a bhavana, and from that bhavana I have rati aswada. So it's okay. There is a parampara sambandha. So upasamharaha for this Navyamatam, Shakuntaladau agamyatva jnana utpadastu swatmani dushyantadi abeda buddhya pratibadhyate ityahu. No, there was one problem that we have had. Shakuntala tu maya agamya. I cannot love Shakuntala directly. It is only Dushyanta who loves Shakuntala. So how can I say I have Shakuntala vishayaka ratimati aham iti katham bhavati or ratiman aham iti ayanjanaha? How is that possible? So that, because she is agamya, she is not a person that I can approach, because satu parastri. She is somebody else's rati vishayaka. She can only be the recipient of rati from somebody else, which is Dushyanta, and not me. Iti purvam yad dosham uktam Shakuntaladau agamyatva jnana utpadaha. There is a jnanam that is created that Shakuntala should not be approached. So what to do of that dosha? That dosha pratibadhyate, that is being removed when we think of ourselves as Dushyanta. Then Dushyanta can feel that. So நம்ம என்ன பண்றோம்னா, நமக்கு மேல துஷ்யந்தன்ங்கிற ஒரு போர்வையை போத்திட்டோம்னா துஷ்யந்தன் தானே லவ் பண்றான் அப்படின்னு ஆயிடுறது. Right? So we blanket our soul with this brahma. We blanket our atma with this brahma vyapara, saying Dushyantaha aham. Kidrishaha Dushyantaha, not Dhirodatta, and the madri. The Shakuntala Vishayaka Ratiman Dushyantaha Yaha Vartate Tasmin Yat Dushyantatvam Vartate Sa Dushyantatvam to Atra Abeda Buddhya Aropitaha Vartate Mama Manasi. Is that clear? So Swatmani, in myself, Dushyantadi Abheda Buddhya. Because there is a non-difference between Dushyanta here and myself, it is okay to love Shakuntala here. I can have Shakuntala Vishayaka Rati, because I am thinking of myself as Dushyanta. Okay? Ityahu. With this, our third matam is done. Okay? Now we should move on to the fourth matam. Next class paklama.